This video tutorial will show you how to add a Turnitin assignment to your Moodle page. Turnitin can be used then to check the similarity between the student submission and an extensive database of resources from the Turnitin website. To add the Turnitin assignment, first of all turn editing on, and from the drop-down menu click on the Turnitin assignment type. You can see at the top under activities you have a number of different assignments, and Turnitin is the last one on the list. Click add, and at this point you're redirected to the Turnitin website within the Moodle environment. There are three different types of assignment: a paper assignment, which is the standard, peer mark assignment, which can be used for peer review, or a revision assignment. We're going to focus on the paper assignment, so we'll click on the next step. And at this point we'll give the assignment a title. This is what the students will see on the main Moodle page, so it should be something meaningful that the students can be directed to. The point value is the grade given for this assignment. If you normally mark out of 100, you can leave this blank. If you have a continuous assessment that's out of 50 or out of 30, you can put in the point value here. And you can also use then the Turnitin area for grading. On the right hand side, the start date is when the assignment is available from on Moodle, and there is also a time that you need to just be careful of. The due date is the due date of the assignment, and again there's a time there. And the post date then is if you decide to use Turnitin for comments or for grading, the post date refers to the date on which students can see those comments or see those grades. It must be on or after the due date. If you click on the plus sign beside optional settings, you get some more settings for the Turnitin assignment. The special instructions can be the entire instructions for assignment, or it can be just an indicator. In any case, this is what the students will see when they're working on the assignment in Moodle. Once you've entered the special instructions for your students, you can continue down the page and select the options that you prefer. Allowing submissions after the due date will give students the opportunity to still upload their assignment, but it will be marked as late, so at least you'll know if students have submitted late. The originality report is the similarity index where the student submission is matched against the database of resources from Turnitin, so generally we could leave that yes. You have a number of options for generating that originality report. Very often lecturers will choose the second one, so the students get an opportunity to upload their assignment again and use it as a formative tool, maybe making some improvements the second time or third time they upload it. You can then choose some options here from the next number of items, whether or not you want to include the bibliography in the similarity index match or quoted materials. You can also decide to exclude small matches, so for very small numbers of words you can decide to exclude it, or if you prefer to exclude a percentage, perhaps 10% or 7%, then you can do that here as well. Will you allow students to see the originality report? It is a good idea to allow students to see the originality reports, but you should be prepared for a conversation about what's acceptable within your discipline in terms of a percentage mark, or even in terms of how students deal with the referencing and so on within your discipline. If it's a draft assignment, then you might prefer to just choose no repository, and this means that the student submissions are not submitted to the Turnitin database for future reference, but the similarity match will still happen. And you can see the search options here. There's a student paper repository, internet, and then online periodicals, journals and publications. Just bear in mind also that printed materials such as books and so on, if there isn't an online equivalent, obviously they will be excluded from the match, so just to bear that in mind. If you have a rubric that you'd like to attach to this assignment, you can do that, and the students can view the attached rubrics then if they want to. Finally, you can save these options if you intend to use them for future reference, and then you can click submit if you want to continue. So now you can see that within the Moodle page, I have called the assignment upload your assignment here. These are the special instructions that I had put on the assignment. This is the available from date and then the due date, obviously. At this point, students can now upload their assignments to Moodle, and I've logged in as a student to show you how students will actually go through this process. So you can click on the assignment on the main Moodle page, see the information that was posted by the lecturer, and then click Submit. The student is then directed to Turnitin, where they must accept the terms and conditions to continue, and then they're brought into the assignment area. You can see the assignment inbox is for the Moodle Demo Training module. That would be the name of your module. Here is the title of the assignment, the start date, due date, and post date. Here we have a submit option, so we click submit, and at this point the student's name will appear here, first name and last name. They probably will choose a single file upload, but you can do a cut and paste upload. And then the submission title will be the title of the essay. Because we've chosen no repository, the students here will be reminded that the paper will not be added to the paper repository, and they're given some indication as to the requirements for the file. Then we'll select to our documents. And find the file. Once we've located our file, we can click Open to upload the file, and then click Upload. At this point, you'll be given a preview of the file that you've uploaded, and you can decide whether this is the right version or not, or the student can decide whether this is the right version or not, and continue on if it is. As you can see, there are 3 steps. Step 1 has been completed successfully. Again, you can review the document, click Submit if they're happy or if you're happy with the submission. Here we see that the student's submission has been accepted, and the student then is given a message to say the submission was successful, and they're given a digital receipt. They can then go to their portfolio or their assignment inbox and wait for the similarity index or the similarity match to be processed. I've logged in as a lecturer again to show you what it looks like from the lecturer's perspective once a student uploads an assignment. You can click again on the link for the assignment, and at this point view the number of submitted assignments that are in the inbox. When we click here, we're redirected to Turnitin, and we can see that a student has submitted a paper and that there's a similarity index of 80%. If all of your students haven't actually appeared here, what you can do is synchronize the roster with your Moodle roster. This means that once the student is enrolled on your Moodle page, they will automatically be synchronized with the Turnitin roster, and you should get a list of names then. Looking then at the similarity index for this paper, you can click on the percentage, and you're brought to the document viewer for that paper. Just be careful to make sure that you choose the originality check as opposed to the grade mark or peer mark options, and you can see then the direct matches. So you can see here, for example, that this is quite a substantial match to Elspeth Hennessy's publication, and given that I took the sample paper from the internet, that makes perfect sense. What you have then is a number of different matches, and if you click on the match itself, you'll be brought directly to the publication if it's an internet source or an online journal. You can click then on any of them, and you can see exactly where they have originated from. It's worth noting at this point that Turnitin isn't a plagiarism checker. It basically shows you where the match, the text match, appears, and then it's up to you to decide whether or not the information has been referenced correctly or if indeed plagiarism has occurred. Less than 1% matches are perhaps irrelevant, but again, you might decide that these are something you want to take into consideration. What I would suggest is that if there's an over-reliance on one source, you might encourage your students to go back and do a broader range of research. You can also decide to give the student a grade. Remember at the beginning we left this at the 100. So for example, if I were to give the student 35, then once I go back to the main page, this will show up as the grade. You can continue on then to the next student on the list if you want to, or return to your inbox as you see fit.